So in this video, I want to talk about the command points in the game. I do mention command points, I do describe them in other videos, but I just thought I'd do a separate video specifically about this mechanic. It is probably the single most important mechanic of the game, and the objective for this game really, when I started on it, I've been working on this game now for a couple of years, was to do a solitaire narrative driven game where you're commanding numerous squads and tanks across a battlefield, and where decision making was at its heart. And I have developed this idea of using command points, and I'll just sort of explain how it works. So every scenario, every turn will have a variety of different command points that you'll need to roll for using your d6. You only need a couple of d6 for this game. And some turns it may be that you're rolling 1d6 or 2d6. Some turns and some scenarios it may be you're rolling a d6 or 2d6, whatever, plus a number. And that will give you a command point total for the turn. So it may be you've got, I don't know, 15 or 12 or something like that. Every time you spend a command point, you can use this command point tracker. So it goes down every time you spend them. And everything, for the most part, every single action that you'll be doing will have a command point cost. So if I've got some units in this zone and I want to move them into that zone, I spend command points. If I want to do a recon into a new zone, say for example I want to recon this zone, I spend command points. All of combat requires me to spend command points. That's not strictly true, I say that. There are types of attacks that I can do in combat that require command points. There are types of attacks that don't require any command points. The key thing is I have to decide. I have to decide what type of attack I will be doing, if I want to spend command points. If I want to use artillery strikes or air strikes, I have to spend command points, and so forth. And often, as I play through the game, as you're playing through the game, you don't have enough command points to do every single thing that you would possibly want to do, especially in combat. So you have some hard decisions to make. There are some events when you go into a new zone, and this is covered in a video. I talk about zone, what happens when you go into a new zone, but if you go into a zone, there may be a random event. Sometimes that can give you more command points or take them away, and so forth, depending on what the event is. And there's a couple of charts that you roll through. But at its heart, this is a solitaire game where you have to make pretty tough choices. You invariably will not be able to do every single attack, every single airstrike and artillery strike on every single zone that you would want to do. So you have to make those tough choices. In addition to that, there are things that happen that you didn't plan for. There's only so much planning you can do. And part of that is when, like I said, you go into new zones, there'll be random events that will play. They can seriously impact, they can help you or they can hinder you. Plus, for every zone that you've taken control of, you will need to roll a chart to see if the enemy try and take that zone back. And again, you'll have to respond to that, and having to think about how you use your command points to do so. So yeah, it's just a quick overview. You'll be able to watch all the other videos where I talk about the combat and how the zones work. So yeah, just wanted to sort of highlight that key thing. And yeah, thanks for watching as ever.